Well, it's another beautiful spring morning and a few more little jobs around the garden, and one of which is cleaning the green stains off this planter. These planters look absolutely fantastic in the summer when they're nice and clean and shining in the sun, but of course over the winter this green algae accumulates. So I have all the equipment I'm going to use for this job lined up. Some good old household thick bleach, which is the best thing I know to remove this green algae. A bucket to put it in, some water to water it down to. I do 50-50 thick bleach and water. I've got a blower just to blow things off before I start, and I apply it with this is a good old-fashioned paste brush. Helps it go on quite nicely, and after a little while it's a good idea to just agitate it with a stiff bristled brush either. I've got two here, one for getting into nooks and crannies, and a sheet here just to protect the lawn below, and I've got a couple of bits of perspex here which are going to protect the plants. So yeah, let's get underway and we can mix the bleach with the water. Just a word of caution when doing this kind of work. You'll be using bleach which can burn your skin. Now, I'm very confident the way that I work around things like using bleach. I've worked in the building trade all my life. I'm very careful, I'm competent, I don't dribble stuff all over the place with a paintbrush. So I'm okay, but I feel that you should really, especially if you're not feeling very confident, make sure that you're protected. So goggles, this stops obviously it going in your eyes. Use your common sense is what I would say, and if there's any doubt and you think it might dribble on your skin or splash on your skin, use gloves, use some decent protective clothing, use goggles. And personally, I anyway always have a wet cloth at hand so I can wipe things off if a bit of bleach has gone anywhere, and have a bucket of water with you so that if it goes on your hand or wherever, you can always, there's always water, and you can dip your cloth in it, and that should be a reasonable precaution, but it's up to you to use your common sense. So 50-50, that's the remainder of a bottle of bleach I had, and then let's put some water in there. I think that's okay, that's approximately 50-50, and let's just mix that round a little bit, and then we can take all our equipment over to where we need it. So I've got all my equipment here, and one of the things that I do like to do is put some really old clothes on, because you will get splashes of bleach, is what I've found in the past. So just protecting the lawn, and I'm going to do this one area just as a demonstration, and just along the top of the wall here and maybe around the corner. So first of all, yeah, protecting the lawn. Then I've got a couple of bits of these perspex which I'm going to put on like this, which protects the plants behind. I'm just going to be careful not to damage these alliums, and I think that is good because I've got this protection here and I can go right up to the edge with a brush. And so let's now get another piece of perspex in here like so. And as you can see, that's nicely protected. Let's now just blow anything off the wall. And here's our bucket of bleach. A couple of stiff brushes there to agitate with. So I think I'm going to put this up here, and so you just collect some in the usual way you would if you're going to wet anything up. It's not too... Let's try the top first. You can see it foams up a little bit. That's exactly what you want. You want to see that foam. And apply it liberally. And as you can see, just going along here, it's going nowhere near the plants, and yet you can get it all over where you want it. So 2-to-1 bleach, plenty of it. And let's do an area, say 1 meter wide. Foaming nicely. Let's just move these to one side just for a moment. And up we go. I think I'm going to put a little bit more on here. You need plenty. It's got to soak in and do its bleachy magic. Now, as you can see, we've got this corner, there's some on the top and also some going down here. So let's put in fact let's have our bucket down here, and I'm going to go around the corner. Putting plenty on. Now these inside pieces, they're going to need doing, and they can be done carefully. Just so happens the way that these planters are constructed is that this part of the wall here goes straight down masonry wise and doesn't connect with the soil at all. So luckily the way we've built these doesn't affect the soil, because the other thing about it is bleach is a chemical, it's a strong chemical, so I'm not a fan of chemicals at all. I don't like chemicals going into the soil any more than they need to. I think it's very difficult in this day and age to be a complete purist. I want to take care of the environment, and yet I drive a car, and I do my shopping at the supermarket where there's loads of air miles and goodness knows what. It's very difficult to get away from it. So I don't think you can be perfect, but you can try and minimize it. So with this, mainly the bleach is just going to be soaking in to this structure. There is going to be a little bit of washing, and it'll dribble down just into this little junction here between the soil and the planter below. So let's apply a bit more. Nice and foamy. If you see it foaming, that to me is a good sign. It means it's covering nicely. And now we're going to get on to get onto the green a bit in a minute. But let's just coat this up for now. So now, quite liberally on this very green section here, make sure that is foaming up like mad. If it dribbles down, you can catch it. It's not a problem. I think if you're careful with this brush, and there's a lot of strokes where the brush is held down rather than all over the place, I think you'll find that it keeps the liquid on the brush a bit better. So you're doing upward strokes, and then when the brush is a little bit drier, you can be swirling around a bit more. Now we're covering this quite well now. We're going to go up and do about a square metre down here. So, as I say, make sure that there's plenty on the really green bits. You can, if you wish, do the bricks below. If you've got this kind of setup and you've got brickwork that's gone green. It's sunny weather, so the motorcycles are all out, which you can hear on the road nearby. You can see this foaming up nicely. And there's only the odd little bit just dropped onto the soil below, which is okay. I mean, the other thing about it is, if you think that you just literally can't, in this day and age, you cannot be, well, perhaps you can if you live in the wilderness somewhere. I'm not sure, maybe there is some way of doing it. But even if you put your waste bins out, I try my best just to get one small bag per fortnight actually going into the waste bin, which gets collected by the bin lorry. But even that goes into landfill. So, as I say, you can't be perfect, but you just do your best. And although we're using chemicals, I'm using chemicals, I'm trying to do it in the least harmful way. And that, I think, is going to do for what we want. Now, already, I think if we stand back and have a little look, You can see already the effect that this is having. It's whitening it already. So let's leave it 5 minutes, shall we say? Then we'll give it a little bit of a agitation with this brush here, and that will really help it, and a little bit more bleach as well. Even on the top you can see how we're changing colour already from this very green already to this much lighter colour. So let's give it 5 minutes and come back. Right, so 5 minutes has gone by, so let's give this a little bit of agitation, especially this slightly darker part where the most of the green was. So just round and round so that it gets into the top layer. You can see it foaming up where I put plenty on in this area. And I think that is probably going to do it. I'll just do down this side here to make a good old demarcation line. Let's have a little look on here, and let's do a little bit of agitating here. Maybe just put these perspex back just for a second while I do it. Just got to be careful that there's a little bit of green there that I've missed, so let's rub this in. In fact, just let's apply a tiny bit more to this area. That's fine. And let's agitate that in. Everything needs to be covered. The whole surface. Now just watch out for, at least I have to watch out for these little flicks coming off the bristles of bleach, because that could easily burn any plants that it goes on. So I think that is looking quite reasonable now. And so the next step is to just let it soak in a little while, and then you can let it dry. You can wash it off if you want to, which I have done in the past, or you can let it dry. If you don't wash it off, the rain just gently washes it over time, and that's fine as well. So I think this time round, let's actually just leave it to dry naturally, and let's see what the finished job looks like when it's dry. I'm now going to wash the bucket out. Always a good idea to get rid of bleachy substances as best you can. And here are the results about 3 weeks later. As you can see, really vivid, bright, and I did up to about this point here. This is naturally starting to bleach a little bit in the sun and drying out, but as you can see, this part here, which we did with the bleach, is beautifully white, and all the green gone, so looking very good. And just over here there's another section I did, and this also, look how lovely and white and bright that is. So yeah, that's the technique I use, and it brings these planters back to brilliant white. and I'm going to infill this section in the middle. A little bit of repair to do, but this is the method I use for bringing this white render back to life.